Hello and welcome to the DISNEYCAST. I'm your host Core, and I'm joined by my co-host Jack is Boy.
Hello.
Today we're going to be talking about Pinocchio.
It's a movie.
It's a lot better than the last one we watched, which was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Definitely a noticeable step up in both storytelling quality and visual quality.
Oh yeah, everything. Everything in this movie was better. Everything. This movie is great compared to Snow White, I thought.
Have you had any experience with this film prior to us watching it recently?
No, I haven't watched this movie in a long time. I feel like it's a similar experience to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs for me. I haven't seen this since I was very young, so I didn't remember much of this movie. And things I thought I remembered, like, you know, his long nose, were just barely in the movie at all. So it was interesting to see this. What about you though? When was the last time you saw this movie?
Yeah, so I don't really remember. I definitely saw it as a kid. I did remember more of it than you, though I think part of that is that I remembered I had seen the movie, and then I also read, I don't know if it was the actual version or if it was like a abridged version, but it was a version of the story that it's an adaptation of.
Mm-hmm.
So like that sort of like I had it more fresh in my mind.
Brain. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I knew like all the main story beats. So it was kind of amusing seeing you like be surprised by stuff that was happening.
Yeah, I was, especially the donkey bit. I just totally forgot. And the Fox characters, like Honest John. I think Honest John. I think is his name. All these
this
characters
movie,
I just forgot.
I mean, among the Disney movies, is one of the darker ones, and just like in general, is significantly darker than Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which was like almost entirely positive and cheery. Like it's just like the only like kind of messed up thing is like the Queen, but like
the Queen.
She's comically evil. Whereas this movie, like the bad guys are realistically evil in the sense that like they act maliciously in the way that like actual malicious people would behave. Like they don't they're played up for the sake of like being humorous, right? But they are genuinely threatening. Like they have an ominous presence, and they're like they have interests and desires. Whereas with like Snow White, the villain is kind of a joke because like she wants to be the fairest of them all. Like that's kind of a dumb desire. Whereas these guys, they just want money. That's a relatable goal.
That is a goal, which the amount of screen time that's given to them compared to the stepmother is like, what?
I think like
how do they fit more character?
all of the villains, because there's a lot of different like bad people in this movie. All of the villains individually have more screen time than the Queen in this last movie.
I think that is true. That definitely is true. They go through different each villains. The last villain is pretty cool, I'd say. You know, the whale, but you know. Yeah.
Oh man, the whale's so cool. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely interesting because I knew that the book itself is one of, I mean, a lot of these stories that Disney adapts are way darker in their original incarnations. Like, what I specifically remember is that in the book, Pinocchio kills Jiminy Cricket. Like, Jiminy Cricket is like telling him to being his conscience and telling him he shouldn't do something, and Pinocchio gets annoyed and throws his shoe at him and kills Jiminy Cricket.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
I had no idea. I knew is that the Grimm's fairy tales? Because I knew the Snow White is, but
I'm not sure. According to Wikipedia, it's a novel for children by an Italian author.
Okay, shit. Well, I guess a lot of the fairy tales are way darker than the Disneyified versions of them are. But this one's still very dark compared to Snow White. As I stated earlier, the donkeys. Oh my god.
Yeah.
The children. God. So do you want to go chronologically?
I guess we can.
The beginning of the movie I thought was the strongest part I thought throughout the entire movie. I
It's
was
definitely
enjoying
the
myself
most
the
like
most.
focused and charming.
Yeah, it was the most chill. It gave me. I think it was a good way to maybe pass people on. Like, oh, I really like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Let me watch this movie. It's kind of similar to that, where it's got a similar kind of feeling, like a chill kind of fun time feeling. But I feel like it transitions people to more in the more dark shit that's happening into this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did a good way of like mixing the tones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like I like how like you're saying how this is chill. It's like kind of similar to Snow White, where you have all these like just characters just sort of like with like dialogue that doesn't really matter, and it's kind of that like just feeling of like you're just like that hominess of just like sounds going on around you and stuff happening. But in the case of Pinocchio, I feel like it's even less like in your face about it. Like in Snow White, all the characters, every time it cuts away to a goofy animal or something, there's got to be a really loud sound effect or something. Whereas with Pinocchio, it's oftentimes leans a lot more on just directly visual gags over necessarily something that is really loud or vocal in action. There's a lot of stuff that's just is purely visual and not anything else, which I think is kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, they went visually. This movie's fucking amazing. There are some moments in this movie where Core and I were like, "Is that live action?" We were confused, but yeah, visually, I said during the movie, like, just the details, like the cat does all the movements. I like the way I forgot the cat's name, but the cat matches all the movement. Figaro, he matches Geppetto's movements. Ugh. That they know how to make animals look amazing. That's their trope so far. Yeah.
I really like the animation at all, because like and this is one of the things that makes the introduction so great is, I mean, between these two there's always like a lot happening, especially in the introduction with Pinocchio, and like it basically takes the idea of like Snow White's animals and turns them into, instead it's Geppetto's machinations. So all these little like clocks and what's
Trinkets.
the word? Yeah, different trinkets and stuff that are moving around, and they all have this very distinct mechanical movement to them that is just like the way they capture that movement, and especially like the way Pinocchio walks around, because he is made of wood and he looks like he's walking around like you would imagine a puppet that has come to life would.
Yeah. Oh god. Everything. The clocks, all the clocks I thought were just, there's the one that stuck out to me. I think this movie is way funnier than Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I laughed a lot, genuinely.
Definitely. And it's more memorable in like
it's definitely way more memorable because there's so many great things going on visually, like the clock that's the mother spanking the little son's ass.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. it was pretty funny.
So like with the introduction to the movie, you know we meet all the characters, and then the Geppetto's like, oh, wouldn't it be great if Pinocchio was alive? And then
he's
the fairy lady comes down. She's blue fairy, is like, okay, and then she makes him alive.
Okay.
We also have like we meet Jiminy Cricket, who's like our starts off like the way the movie starts. It does the same thing with Snow White, where it's like a book. In this case, Jiminy Cricket is like the narrator, and he's like he opens the book to tell us a story.
I guess he wrote a story about it. I guess he wrote it.
Who knows?
I don't know. Yeah.
But initially, like the start of the movie, like it works, I think, because all the characters just are so fun immediately. Like once Pinocchio comes alive, I think the way they realize him feels so much like a real kid. Like when he's just like, why? It's like, yes, that is every kid I've
Yes.
ever met.
He's trying to go to sleep. Why?
They just say why. They act on impulse. They trust everything. Like, it's pretty accurate.
Dumbass
He's a very
kids.
believable character.
Yeah, it was me. It was everyone. Like, we're all dumbass kids. Yeah, I thought Pinocchio was a really believable character. And
I also, I was thinking this while watching it. I really liked the kid who's voice acting Pinocchio. I think like Pinocchio's voice is really convincing.
Oh, I thought it was great. I thought all the voice acting was really great in this movie. I like Jiminy's voice a lot. I didn't remember what he sounded like, but I like his kind of like country charm to him. Yeah. He's pretty funny. He's like, Pinocchio. I like the little nicknames that they give. There's so many little details. Like, everybody calls Pinocchio something different. Like, Pinocchio's friend calls him Pinocchio. And, like, I like it. It feels like a real boy. Because he is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not too long into this movie before he gets drawn astray by Honest
cat.
John. Honest John. He's honest.
He's drawn astray by a stray cat. Ha ha ha. Yeah,
And they're
Honest
like,
John.
We'll sell him off to what's his name? There's
Stromboli.
Stromboli, that's right. How could I forget Stromboli?
Stromboli. That name stuck in my mind because I was really hungry during it, and I was like, I want some Stromboli.
Likewise. And
oh god.
the cats are pretty fun characters, honestly. They have a good dynamic to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, like, he's sold off to Stromboli. Stromboli's very threatening, thanks to this like deep booming voice he's got. I really like that.
Oh, he was powerful. His scream was like shaking the trailer. He was great. No, Stromboli immediately like developed such a great premise, and then he just left the movie. I thinking about that because I'm like, he's like the main villain. I feel like they should have kept him. Maybe he could have had some like weird deal with the mob or something to go to Pleasure Island. I felt like if he was our central villain, because I found him the most intimidating out of all of them. He developed just such a creepy presence.
I don't know. I found the coachman way more spooky myself.
I don't know. He was definitely creepy because the things that he did. But
like the cadence to his speech,
yeah,
it's like very like sadistic and spooky. Like instead of like overtly angry, though Stromboli I think is a pretty good like threatening figure because of the way like he goes from 0 to 100.
Yeah,
like
he seems like a nice guy, and then he's like, "Oh, sorry."
Then you tick him off just a little bit, and he's like flies into a furious rage.
Oh yeah, jeez, but I do think it is a good way for them to have all these villains. Like, you shouldn't trust strangers. That's like this is like
that's the movie.
That's the movie. They're trying to push all these messages, but then like all of them don't get like thematically tied up. But then at the end of the movie, they pretend that they did.
Right.
They try and have so many messages. Don't lie. Go to school. I don't know. Be a good boy. Yeah. Honesty. Bravery. But not all of those are actually done.
Yeah. I guess we should probably hit on. So then towards the end of the film, there's like two more distinctive, I guess, villains. I guess like the structure of this movie is sort of defined by like the different negative influences he encounters. So after that, after he escapes, he basically gets kidnapped by the two stray cats, and this time is brought over to the coachman who operates Pleasure Island and turns these boys into donkeys and then sells them off. It's pretty frightening. It's very disturbing. Like the scene where Pinocchio's friend is like turning into a donkey, and he starts like hawing and like you're in the shadow as you see him like transforming.
Oh, that was fucking creepy, man. I was like speechless at that scene.
I think that's one of the things this movie does best, is like being funny and frightening simultaneously.
Yeah, it's like these kids are getting turned into donkeys, but also that's fucking terrifying. Like, they're funny looking donkeys, but it's still like fucking terrifying.
As you see them like crying and like begging for their parents.
Yeah, mommy, mom, I want to go back to my mom. It was like, oh god. Yeah, just looking back at I don't remember the guy's name, the old man who took him. That guy's so. If you notice, all the villains are fat men, including the whale. He's a fat whale.
This movie is body shaming.
It's body shaming. Don't trust fat men. Honestly, lose some weight, and then you can be trusted. That's what Walt Disney's saying.
That's the final villain is Monstro, the whale.
Monstro.
He's doesn't have much character to him. He's just a mean old whale.
He's a whale. He's a mean whale, and he looks so beautiful. That's like the best looking parts of the entire movie is the whale swimming through the ocean. Oh my god! You see all the smog. It's so good.
Like the way he's got this very like painted look. That's
like watercolor sort of. I was like, oh, it's beautiful. The entire water scene I thought was like. That was probably the best looking part of the entire movie. It was, even inside the whale.
Like it like turns into a moving painting basically in like the latter, like sequence, like with the way the water's moving and stuff. Like everything sort of loses its outline that it usually has. Yeah,
it was amazing. But terrifying at the same time.
Yeah,
Pinocchio.
Pinocchio. Unfortunately, I do take some umbrage with certain aspects of this film, and that a lot of it, like you brought up earlier, kind of does feel unearned. Like it did definitely needed more runtime to flesh out the story, because the moral, I was like, huh? Where did that come from?
It was so out of left field, that entire end of the movie. Pinocchio, you demonstrated bravery, honesty, and whatever else the fairy woman said, and we were like, oh, what did Pinocchio do?
Like, most notably, I was confused because there's no sequence where he has to like tell the truth.
There is zero.
There's literally like one sequence where he lies, which I was surprised by, because I thought the nose was a bigger part of his character than it apparently is. He only lies in one scene.
One scene. I was so taken aback by that. I was like, when are they gonna bring back the nose?
Because everyone like pushes the whole like. That's the meme. That's what people remember about Pinocchio.
That is what people remember. But like the thing I remember is the fucking donkey. Like, what? That's way more memorable. I thought. No, the nose is definitely like creepy and like weird. But that's one scene.
It's just so strange because we're expected to believe that he has learned that lying is bad, but in the first place, like. Just the whole movie's premise doesn't work for me, because he's like, he comes to life, is taught nothing, is immediately thrown out into the world and met with malicious influences, and the confusing part is he's just like basically told, believe one person or believe another person, like, is what he's presented. Believe Jiminy Cricket or believe the foxes. Jiminy Cricket does a terrible job, gives up after one attempt, whereas the foxes are pervasive and continually try and convince him. So, like, I'm with Pinocchio here. I'd be convinced too if I were him. It seems like they are making a pretty reasonable argument, and Jiminy Cricket is not doing anything.
Jiminy Cricket sucks. Jiminy Cricket is the worst. He is. And then he gets a medal at the end of the movie, even though he didn't do anything at the end.
Every single time. He tries to help Pinocchio. He gives up after one attempt, and then is like, oh, I guess goodbye, Pinocchio. Guess I'm useless.
He says goodbye to him so many times. Like the one part when they're in the Pleasure Island, that's scary innuendo right there, where they're in Pleasure Island and Jiminy Cricket finally catches up to Pinocchio, and he's like, we have to get out of here, Pinocchio, and he's like, no, I don't want to leave my best friend, and Jiminy Cricket is just offended because I guess Jiminy Cricket thought they were best friends even though they barely know each other.
Yeah, they've spent maybe like 20 minutes together in total.
No, it's been like a day, I think. It's been a day. I don't know.
But it's like the thing is, well, what's the weirdest part is that every time Jiminy Cricket is with Pinocchio, and then he just like disappears, and something happens where Jiminy Cricket should have been like there to help, and you're like, where did he go? Where is he?
He's so absent-minded. Like when Jiminy Cricket gets kidnapped by the cats, Jiminy Cricket's like, oh, where'd he go? I don't know. Jiminy Cricket sucks.
That was the weirdest part, because it felt like the point is right, like, don't be led astray. But he literally just, like, they pick him up and take him there. Like, it's not like he had it's not like he said no. They pick him up and just take him there against his will. Like, I don't know, that is what what's happened. He supposed to do?
They picked him up, and, like, the way they were holding him is like, he can't get out of that. He's a little boy. These are some strong cats. And, like, at that point in the movie, you think Pinocchio's, like, he's good now. I don't know, he doesn't want to have a long nose. He's not going to lie. He's going to go to school. But the movie's like, no, sorry. People are going to kidnap you, and then you're still bad. Sorry. You're a donkey.
Sorry,
movie. Sorry. Ugh.
Yeah, and the weirdest part, for me, I think it's just, like, the implicitness of everything. Because, I mean, obviously, when you're talking about morals, like, you can't get too heavy-handed with a kid's thing. Like, generally, it's just, like, good things are good because they're good, right? Like, we're not getting into some, like, deep philosophical debates of, like, morality and stuff. That's a little too heavy-handed for a kid. But, this film doesn't even, like, try. Like, no one he constantly is asking, like, why, like, questioning. No one ever really tries to explain to him why it's good to do good things or bad to do bad things. Like, even on a basic level, like, it's bad to not go to school because you'll make Geppetto sad. Like, nothing even to that degree. So it's like, it's so hard to be at all convinced by the whole, like, that Pinocchio is being bad, because, like, no one's teaching him. No one has done anything for him whatsoever. Yeah,
nobody taught him anything. I'm convinced that Geppetto didn't even tell him where the school was. Like, that's what I think.
Honestly.
Because he wasn't following the kids. He was just running off random places. I think that's what happened.
But, I mean, like, Geppetto's like he's a nice guy, but he's also a huge idiot.
Yeah, he's an idiot. The cat's an idiot. You know, the fish is sexy, but everyone's an idiot. Like,
I think it's funny because, like, again, this film falls into, like, people just become smart when they need to, because for the most part, this movie doesn't work unless everyone acts really stupid, and then, like, at certain moments, it's like, oh, I guess they better be smart now so that the plot can come to a logical conclusion.
Basically, yeah, it's exactly that when Pinocchio starts the fire in the well. That is exactly it, because Pinocchio is the dumbest character in the movie until that point. But then he just, sudden rush of inspiration and knowledge gets into his brain. Weird. Movie, it was pretty good, though. There are definitely bad points, though.
Yeah, for sure. I think overall it works as, like, just an enjoyable film. Like, if you don't think too hard about it, you can, like, get the idea of what they're going for and accept that. And it does look nice. And Pinocchio is a likable character, though Yeah, I hate Jiminy Cricket now. I hate him.
Jiminy Cricket, I hate him. He sucks. He's the worst.
He's
Also,
the worst.
I forgot to say this in my notes. When Jiminy Cricket, when he gives up on Pinocchio, when he's an actor, like at the beginning, when he's under Stromboli's place, he's like, what's an actor want a conscious anyways? A conscious. Like, this movie's anti-actor somehow. They keep making jokes about actors.
Or like when Pinocchio leaves, he's like, I'd rather be. What did he say? He's like, I'd rather be a good boy than an actor.
Yeah, implying actors can't be good people. it's yeah. Oh God.
Rip anyone working in the theater, huh? I guess.
Honestly, it's a cry. That was a cry. They just want you to stay in school. What confused me during the movie, and that I brought up, what the hell were those things that the old man who kidnapped the kids to Pleasure Island? What were those things
like
that he was whipping?
Like demons or something? They're
what the hell are those? I didn't know. I was like, are those his slaves?
They're like these like these black shadowy creatures. Like they do not look like humans.
I think that's how he's turning them into donkeys. I don't know. He made a deal with the devil. Maybe something like that.
That's another thing. This movie has like Pinocchio meets his friend, right? Nice friend. Friend turns into donkey. Pinocchio runs away with Jiminy. The movie just forgets about that. They're like, okay. I mean, like, I would think, maybe, Pinocchio would be like, all right, let's save my friend, or, stop the bad guy from turning young, impressionable children into donkeys and selling them into slavery. But no, that's just something that happens in their world now, I guess. Like, Pinocchio's chill. He's like, I got my family. That those social issues don't matter to me. Yeah.
Pinocchio's an idiot, and then he's gonna remember when he's older. He's gonna be like, oh fuck. He's gonna have PTSD from that donkey moment, and then he's gonna be like, oh shit, I gotta save him. Pinocchio 2 coming in 2020. Yeah. God. What I'm looking at my notes. I have ass in big capitalization. Yes, the amount of ass in this movie is crazy.
It's a running theme.
It's definitely a running theme. Like, Disney, he likes to go every movie. He likes to insert his different fetishes in each movie. We have his ass fetish here. He loves asses. I think at the beginning, Jiminy Cricket places his hand on one of Geppetto's little trinkets, and it's this woman with a big ass. And Jiminy Cricket's like, oh fuck, I like women. And yeah, it's that. There's so many instances of just like ass shots, like Stromboli shaking his big ass.
Yeah,
that was really good. Oh my God.
Everyone in this movie just has very distinct, rotund asses.
It was excellent. It was quite excellent.
Yeah, very much so. A man of taste.
Disney is a man of pure taste. That's what we can agree on.
I think definitely if you're gonna watch this movie, watch it for the visuals. Like, it's like we talk about Snow White looking good. This movie is like 3 Snow Whites. It's so beautiful.
It's the backgrounds. The
backgrounds art is phenomenal, and I think that's like though Snow White looks really nice, it's hard to say, like, it's not very memorable, like, locationally. Like, there's nothing about it that, like, sticks with you, but the locations that Pinocchio goes to feel, like, more fleshed out than the story, honestly. Like, there's so much personality to every location they go, especially the hometown, like, where Geppetto is, and there's, like, all the, like, intricate buildings, and how, like, interconnected everything is. It really just looks so good. And they do a lot of cool things with, like, the camera, where they're, like, panning backgrounds and stuff like that. It's really
so beautiful. What I just realized, how it's way better than Snow White, is that there's actually just random citizens that we see in this movie. Like, we see all those kids running through the street at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, it feels like the world exists outside of the characters.
Yeah, like it's a story happening in a world, on Earth. Like,
in a really messed up world, honestly. There's so many evil people that do not get their comeuppance.
Nope, none of them do. None of them.
I think the real moral of this story is just be in it for the money and abuse others, and you'll get along just fine.
Basically, don't be an idiot kid. That's the moral.
Yeah, that is the moral. Honestly,
don't be an idiot kid and fall for fucking evil old fat men and whales. Yeah.
Don't be a dumb cricket.
I hate Jiminy Cricket's the worst. I hate him. Whenever I see him again.
At least the soundtrack was pretty good. I like the music in this.
Hell yeah.
The way it incorporates the different, like, I just love, I love it whenever stuff like incorporates the sounds of the world as like into the soundtrack, into the music. It's just so neat.
It's so good. It's so good. What I love about these old movies is just the lack of sound effects. Like, you see, I didn't notice this until now, but I feel like this definitely happened in Snow White. Where, like, things are getting hit against things. Like, hey, a hammer hits something else, but there's no sound that comes out. Like, that happens so much in this movie. It's definitely a lack of technology from their time. But it's just... It's such a big difference from like now, where like everything has sound. You can do it.
Right.
There's a billion sound programs on your computer. It's cool. It's interesting to see the evolution in audio quality.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
It's pretty neato. Yeah.
Let's see. Do I have anything left in my notes? I've got "why" written in quotation marks. I don't remember what that was in reference to at all. I'm not very good at taking notes, as you can see.
Yeah, I think I don't have much else to say.
Yeah, I've petered out. It was an interesting film. I enjoyed watching it, mostly from a visual perspective, like the background art. The scene at the end with the whales, like, what really makes it worth it, because I like 3/4 of the way in, I was starting to feel a little lukewarm. I was like, this looks nice, but like, God, this story is like not doing it for me. But then that scene comes, and I'm like, okay, it looks like so good that it's worth it. Definitely.
Definitely.
And it's got like a couple memorable songs to it too, and it's just it is fun experientially for the most part, I think.
Yeah, they have the iconic when
it's way more like distinct and memorable.
Oh yeah, there's some good. Yeah, I'm surprised there weren't more songs in this movie, but
yeah, that was.
I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it though.
So thank you for watching the DisneyCast episode 2. Next week we're gonna be talking about Fantasia. I've been your host, Core. Been joined by Jack's Boy. Link to his channel in the description.
Yeah, I love you. I love you.
Thanks for watching. And we'll see you next week.
Bye bye. See ya.